Joe Biden administration. Thinking of sending nuclear weapons to Ukraine? Is this not insanity? Have you heard about, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's story might just leave you speechless. Is humanity on the verge of self-destruction? Are our leaders blind to the chaos they're causing, or is this all part of a bigger plan? Here's what we know. The New York Times has reported something that sounds more like a Hollywood thriller than reality. U.S. is considering sending nuclear weapons to Ukraine. The Biden administration is allegedly contemplating sending nuclear weapons to Ukraine. Yes, nuclear weapons, let that sink in. But why? Why now? The war in Ukraine has already devastated the region, drained economies, and destabilized global alliances. So why would anyone, let alone the leader of the free world, think adding nuclear weapons into the mix is a good idea? Let me ask you this. Is Joe Biden in the right state of mind to make these decisions? Let's not ignore the elephant in the room. His health has been questioned time and time again. The man is 81 years old, often appears confused, and struggles to even read a teleprompter. Is this really someone we trust to make life and death decisions for the entire planet? Who's really pulling the strings? Could it be BlackRock, the shadowy financial giant with a finger in every pie? They profit off chaos and war, so could this be their ultimate play to escalate tensions and rake in billions from weapons contracts and reconstruction efforts? And then there's Volodymyr Zelensky, Biden's unofficial partner in chaos. Some are starting to call them Apocalyptic Joe and son Zelensky. Is Zelensky manipulating Western leaders into doing his bidding? Why does NATO, an alliance meant for defense, keep bending over backward for a non-member? It's as if Ukraine has become a bottomless pit for Western resources. Billions of dollars in aid, weapons shipments that could arm small nations, and now, nuclear weapons. But ask yourself this, why is no one questioning where all this money and aid is actually going? Why are ordinary citizens funding a war while corporations like BlackRock profit from it? And while we're on the subject of NATO, isn't this eerily similar to Russia placing nukes in Cuba back in 1962? Didn't we almost destroy the world over that? So why is it acceptable for NATO to provoke Russia in the same way? Russia has already issued its warnings. Dmitry Medvedev, former Russian president, called this potential move a clear preparation for escalation. And let's not underestimate Vladimir Putin. Putin's patience is legendary, but patience has its limits. Remember, this is the same Russia that annexed Crimea overnight and has held its ground in eastern Ukraine for nearly 3 years. If nuclear weapons are introduced into this conflict, Russia will not sit idly by. The response could be catastrophic. Are we sleepwalking into World War III? Have we already started it and no one told us? Meanwhile, back home in America, why isn't Congress stepping in? Isn't declaring war supposed to go through them, or is Congress just a decoration at this point? What about the American people? Do they even want this? Who's speaking for them? And let's not forget the rest of the world. How will Europe react if nuclear war erupts in their backyard? What about Asia, Africa, and South America? Are we dragging the entire world into chaos just to settle old grudges? Now, let's get real for a moment. If Joe Biden doesn't care because he's lived his life, what about the rest of us? Do we really want to entrust the fate of humanity to someone who seems more focused on his legacy than on survival? We're talking about a man who might not even remember what he ate for breakfast making decisions about nuclear war. Is this truly leadership? Or are we all just pawns in a game played by people who don't care if we live or die? And let's not forget BlackRock again. These people have a vested interest in war. War means contracts, war means profits. War means they get richer while the rest of us bury our loved ones. Are we letting corporations dictate the future of humanity? Is this even about Ukraine anymore, or is it about power and money? Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just about politics. This is about survival, our survival. If you're not scared yet, you should be. The world is teetering on the edge of a cliff, and our so-called leaders seem more interested in pushing us over it than pulling us back. If Congress doesn't act, if citizens don't speak up, if the media doesn't hold these people accountable, what happens next? Do we wait for the mushroom clouds to appear on the horizon? Will we ever get to play GTA 6, or will Biden have already hit the reset button on humanity? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wake up. Share this story, talk about it. Write to your representatives, demand accountability, because if we don't act now, there may not be a future to save. This has been Have You Heard About? Subscribe, share, and stay tuned, because the next updates might just be the one that changes everything.